Good stuff. Good morning, Rad Reelers. JC here with Rad Reeling Fishing. Coffee time, you guys. Yeah, I drink some kind of like Cuban espresso. It's called Keys, but it doesn't say on the outside. That stuff is smooth and it'll give you a good kick in the morning. I'll put a link in the description or you can go over and check it out. You guys get you some reasonably priced and absolutely tastes delicious and is good stuff. Listen, you aren't watching this video to learn about coffee. We're going to talk about the Cranka Crab. It's 30-mile-an-hour gust today. I'm not going fishing. Yesterday, I posted this video of these giant sheepshead. People have been commenting their Cranka Crabs are coming in. You guys, my goal with these Cranka Crabs was to see if they caught sheepshead. I think I've caught 12 or 13 sheepshead now. They freaking love that Cranka Crab lure, you guys. But I need to share some tips with you, very important, you guys, because yeah, there's some things I've discovered about this lure. Yes, number one, they catch sheepshead. Sheepshead love them. There's a big sheep down there. He's going to bite it. Number two, you have to have needle nose pliers with you all of the time because those hooks are so small, it is impossible to get those things unhooked by using your bare fingers, your bare hands, you guys. Those fish, they get a mouthful of hooks, and sometimes their mouths get like hooked shut because they've got two treble hooks in there. Yeah, you got to have needle nose pliers. Tip number two, be gentle. Be so very gentle when you take these hooks out of the fish. Number one, so you don't tear up the fish's mouth. But number two, you don't want those hooks to break off, okay? On these big sheepshead, all right, their mouths are pretty hard. And if they get both of those treble hooks in their mouth, you have to be very delicate, okay? Because I had a couple hooks break off, you guys, and you don't want the hooks to break off your lures. You got to have those hooks on your lures. They are very small. They're strong enough to handle these big sheepshead, but whenever you're pulling those hooks out of their mouths, you got to be careful because they will break, okay? So be very gentle with that, all right? Tip number three, the little pinchers, you guys. I had one lure that I think I caught 6 sheepshead on. And then I posted that video of the sheepshead adrenaline rush where I lost that sheepshead. Well, the next bite that I got on the lure that day, they actually bit the claws off of it. I felt them go boom, 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 boom. I mean, they hit it like a machine gun. I set the hook. I had the fish on for just a moment. I pulled the lure up, and the crab claws were gone. So I didn't realize that was going to happen. They are tied onto the hooks like you would tie the feathers onto a fly. So anyway, I came home, you guys, and I found some foam like the foam that they use on those Cranka Crabs. Now, the foam that I'm using is the actual supports that I use to haul my kayak around on top of my car. I had an old one that I wasn't using, and it's the identical type foam, but I'm thinking, you guys, you could use any kind of foam, all right? Listen, if you lived in Australia, you could just reorder hooks with the little pinchers and everything on them, but I can't find them anywhere on the United States Amazon site, okay? But they do actually make bigger hook replacements and some different things for these lures because I saw some videos. But anyway, you guys, I made do by making my own little pinchers. I took some foam and I cut them out in the shape of a pincher. Now, mine were gray. I put a little bit of permanent marker on there, but it works. Listen, you can go to the hardware store. You could probably get some of that black insulation foam. Maybe even use like the pool noodle foam if you got some black ones or even yellow ones or different colors. Maybe a bright color would be very attractive to the sheepshead. I don't know. All right, this brings me to my next point, okay? I ordered some of the Cranka Crabs that had like the silver and the orange. They were like really kind of a bright, dull, almost like a brushed, anyway, they're just silver on the back, okay? I fished with them a couple times and I was just catching the little sea bass. So what I decided to do is rub some permanent marker on them. Yeah, put permanent marker over that. Yeah, just put it on there. It'll make it actually look more like a mud crab or a darker colored fiddler crab. And I seemed to have really good luck whenever I did that. So that was a good fix for that. I don't know, I fished with one all day long and caught some sheepshead and some sea bass, and then eventually the color got wore off of it. All right, so let's see, I've told you about you've got to be delicate with the hooks. I've told you about the pinchers. I've told you about the color of the crab. Okay, the Procure Inshore scent that I'm putting on there, I generally just put a little dab on top of the crab and a little bit on their pinchers, and you know, about every time I catch a fish, I reapply it. But you can actually feel that stuff. It is so gooey. You'll be able to feel on the lure, and sometimes I even smell the lure to see if it still smells like the Inshore scent before I reapply it. But you don't have to put much on there at all. All right, let's talk about the bite, you guys. So I had a sheepshead hit that thing violently. I was like, oh my goodness. But generally, you guys, it's just a whoomp or a tap tap. Don't hesitate, okay? As soon as you feel that hit, set the hook. Now, you don't have to set the hook hard because those little hooks are super, super sharp, and I've discovered they've got a mouthful of hooks whenever you get that bite. Yeah, I think they're just biting at those pinchers. Maybe the bigger fish are just inhaling the whole lure. I don't know. You don't have to set the hook very hard. Just a firm snap on there, and you're good to go. All right, so here's the other thing. You guys, I'm fishing with 15-pound test braid with 25-pound test monofilament leader. I'm actually going to bump up probably to straight 25-pound test monofilament leader for fishing for sheepshead because I'm generally not casting very far, or I'm going to bump up to 20-pound braid with 25-pound test monofilament leader. Here's the deal, you guys. When you get hung up on the bottom with these, most of the times they come off. The hooks are so small, they just pull out, right? But it's so important. If you get a really good snag and that thing is not coming loose, you've got to change your position, okay? I made a video a while ago of how to get lures unhung, and basically you just have to change your position. If you're fishing over here and your lure get hung up this way, you've got to walk way over that way and pull from the opposite direction, or walk that way and pull from that direction. Same thing in a boat, you guys. If you get hooked in one place, you can't get it off, you've got to move to the other side of the lure and pull it off of there. Most of the time, 99% of the time, I've been able to get this lure unhung that way, okay? But here's the thing. If it won't come undone, you have to have that heavier pound test line so that you can actually pull really hard. And I've had this happen several times. The hook will actually bend out. I do the same thing with snook fishing jigs, you guys. I use 50-pound test braid, 80-pound test leader. Whenever that thing gets hung up, I just pull really, really hard, and it'll straighten out the hook, and the lure will come back, and then you just rebend the hook with your pliers. Just do it gently on these Cranka Crabs, okay? So yeah, use heavier line on these so that you can actually pull really hard on those snags. You don't want to lose this lure. It's like $13, I think, in the United States, which, you guys, I've already said it. I am done buying shrimp. I mean, every now and then I'm going to buy them, but they're $4.50 a dozen here. So 3 dozen shrimp, you guys, I can burn through 3 dozen shrimp, catching pinfish and little mangrove snapper and toadfish and all kinds of junk fish, and then maybe catch one sheepshead, right? Well, yeah, I'm spending $13 on a lure, and I'm catching sheepshead after sheepshead after sheepshead. Now, I have lost a Cranka crab after catching like 2 sheepshead. Okay, well, that's just the way it is. That's what's going to happen when we're fishing with lures. But anyway, you guys, so, all right, I have covered about the hooks, about the foam claws, about the cover, about the leaders. Get fishing with this bait. Okay, what I've discovered, like when I'm fishing in current in the kayak, if I anchor down on the kayak, if I'm positioned in one spot in the current, I cast up current and get that lure to sink down to the bottom, and then I work it back through in front of the kayak, just barely, barely twitching and bouncing that thing and just pulling it across the bottom with the current until it gets too far this way and it won't actually stay on the bottom anymore. Okay, so you're getting the lure all the way down to the bottom, and you're just ever so gently twitching it, just giving it little pops. Okay, you just give it a couple little pops. Sometimes I just pull that lure, and I can feel the structure. Like where I was catching these sheepshead, there are just a lot of rocks and structure all through the edge of that pass. Well, it's the same thing at the jetties, you guys. It's the same type of structure, just rocks and all kinds of stuff down there. So with this Cranka crab, get it down there on the bottom, and I can feel the structure. I can feel it hitting the rocks and moving over the rocks, and I'm just twitching it and pulling it, moving it and twitching it and pulling it and moving it. And this thing, it's just amazing how the design of this lure doesn't seem to get hung up in these rocks. Now, if you get it wrapped around the backside of the piling, that's going to be a different kind of a story. You might get hooked up. Anyway, guys, 99% of the time I'm not getting hooked up on structure. I just give a huge shout out to this company for designing this crab lure. The thing is amazing. It looks just like a mud crab or a fiddler crab. Those little foam pinchers get up in the air, put a little scent on there, and you guys, the proof is in my videos. I have caught sheepshead after sheepshead, and they're not even thick here yet, okay? They're going to get thicker and thicker. Right now they're coming into spawn. The ones that I caught are just beginning to show signs of roe. Okay, I cleaned some the other day, a little bit of male roe, a little bit of male sperm, a little bit of female roe in those fish, but they aren't ready to drop eggs yet, so they're not in the inlet super thick. But when they come in there super thick, we're going to be catching them one right after the freaking another, you guys. But I've done really good on this lure is my point. Okay, listen, I think I have covered everything. Let me just pause for a moment, have a drink of my kick butt coffee that's making me talk so fast this morning. So I told you about the little foam pinchers coming off. So what I did is I just cut them with the scissors, and I cut quite a few of them, you guys. I mean, I cut like 20 of them, just little pinchers. It took me a little while, but and just stuck them in my tackle box. Then I just hook them on one hook, put a little procure on there, and yeah, sometimes the fish get the little foam things off, but it actually makes those little pincher things fly up in the air, and I still caught sheepshead on them, okay? Yeah, they work. All right, well, I think that is it, you guys. I can't wait for them to get a replenishment of the Cranka Crabs on Amazon. You guys were totally awesome for buying all of these lures. I do want to give a huge shout out to the company that makes the Cranka Crab lure, or the ones that supply the Cranka Crab lure. Thank you so much, you guys, for number one, they posted one of my videos on their Facebook page. Number two, you guys, I emailed them and told them that my videos were why their lures started selling out on the Amazon United States, and they responded to the email. Huge shout out to that company for doing that. I can't tell you guys, I have contacted quite a few companies, some big companies that I actually promote their products, and I never got a response back from them. So a huge shout out to this company for getting back with me. They expressed tremendous appreciation in the email for me using their lures and making videos showing that the lures catch fish. You guys from Australia, they are sending me some lures, a little care package. I'm excited. It'll be here any day, you guys. But yeah, huge shout out for that company. Really, really good to work with. I am so pleased at the results of what happened after I sent them an email. So big shout out to you guys. I can't remember the name of your company, but believe me, I have been promoting the name of your lure. Cranka Crab, Cranka Crab. I keep saying Cranka Crab in front of a big old sheepshead, and if he's hungry, he's going to snatch that thing up. All right, listen, you guys. That's it. Get out there and go fishing. Have fun with your new lure. And please write comments on this video. Write comments on any video, you guys. Any of these sheepshead videos. I would love to see your pictures. You can send pictures to radreelingfishing at gmail.com, or you can message me on Facebook. Send your pictures there, you guys. I want to see the pictures of the sheepshead that you catch. Now, I want to hear your comments about this lure. All right. That's it. I already said get out there and go fishing. Thumbs up or appreciate it. Yeah.